Alright everybody, welcome back to another update. This is update number 3. It's been a while since we made an update, so there's a lot to talk about. Alrighty, so first off, as you can see, I have begun making more cartridges. You can see here, this one's just about finished. Some of these are still a bit of a work in progress. Got to trim the tubing on this one, and another one over here. Another update on the rounds. This is basically what we have to work with. The person who was making these was out of commission briefly, and so at least for this first debut game for the mortar, we're going to be using these rounds, and I'll show you how we've kind of adapted to the form factor here in a minute. Alrighty, so as for the original cartridge that I've been showing you guys in the past videos, one of the main issues that we've been having for it was was leaking pressure, right? And so what I wound up doing was I re-poured the silicone, and then I made essentially a mold here around. You can see how smooth that is in there because I took the ball bearing and I poured like a couple layers of silicone on top of each other as kind of a wall around the black seal. And then while it was still wet, I set the ball bearing on top and I let it dry like that. It was completely perfectly fitting to the ball bearing. Now, as you guys might have guessed, one of the big issues with that is that it's so tight and it's so large. Like the seal at that point was around this outer rim here. It was the size of the seal, that it was holding pressure way more than I needed. Like when I, would have slammed it on this countertop or even outside on some concrete, it still wouldn't depressurize. And so what we wound up doing was we took a razor blade and we made a big old notch there, as you can see on the bottom half there, all the way up to the black. And so that essentially made it so that the air could only seal around this black rim, and the rest of this was only there to help stabilize the ball bearing, because what was happening, why it was leaking before, was because the ball bearing would start to tilt off to one side and air would start to get through. Okay, so that's working, and I figured now I'd show you guys it in action, this cartridge, once it's holding pressure. So I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to pump it up. We'll just go to like 200 psi and I'll show you here. Okay, now it's all pumped up to 200 psi. I'm going to slam it against this concrete floor to release it, and you'll hear it pop. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It's really loud, almost like a shotgun when it releases. When it's in the tube and when it has ammo in it, it's not quite as loud, which is nice. I do like it being a little bit quieter so it doesn't immediately alert the enemy. But yeah, as you can hear, ball bearings loosed. All the pressure came out. We're golden. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, what in the heck is going on with this duct tape down here? And like I said before, all we have to work with is this round from Chrono Arms. And so what we decided on doing is taking a plastic bottle. Originally I was looking for a plastic bottle that was the exact fit to this PVC, but I really couldn't find one in time. So this is very much a temporary fix. I'm gonna wind up finding something that fits perfectly. It'll perform a lot better in the future. But for this game, we were kind of short on time, so we found some plastic bottles that are relatively the right size. We cut a slit in them, slid them over, used some duct tape to tape them up the side where we had cut, and then on the bottom here, we used some duct tape covering up the plastic to kind of make it super tight for the round here to fit inside. So it really takes a bit of oomph to get it in there. And that's what we want. We want it to be super tight. The projectile needs to be super tight in there, so when it slams down against the bottom of the mortar, all the air that's inside comes out the tube, but then it builds up behind here. Then all at once, it just when the pressure becomes too much, it just flies out. And we get maximum distance that way. If it was loose, it would just fly out at the first kind of blow from the tube here, and it wouldn't actually get all of the force of the PSI that was back here. And so we used different layers of duct tape on the inside here to just kind of get a good airtight seal. And obviously it's not as perfect as if we had something that fits on top of this PVC that fits completely airtight. You know, that would be the best case scenario. But I think this will do pretty good for this debut game that we've got here. Now later today, me and a buddy, we're going to go to the field next door, and we're going to run a lot of tests to range test this guy. I'm going to send out a video as soon as that meeting's over, kind of recapping what we saw. I'm not going to give off too many details yet because this is for a game, and I do know some people on the opposing team do watch these videos, so I don't want them to have an edge up on us by knowing how far we can shoot. But I will send out a test video, though it won't be at maximum distance, just because of that. Alrighty, so now is the big moment y'all have been waiting for. I'm going to go grab the assembly for the mortar. Okay, here it is. So this is the mortar tube. This black section down in here, this is from a satellite dish mounting bracket. You can get it off of Amazon. And this tube here, which is actually the firing tube section, it is made out of polycarbonate tube. It is 2 feet long. This bit back here, which holds the tubing, is part of, I believe, a cyclone fence post. I believe. Don't quote me on that. If you guys know, then I guess comment and let me know what it is. We just found it at the local hardware store and it fit. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. Okay, and then we added 2 pieces of 2x4, 2 feet each. Off to the sides, they're screwed to the clamp, as you can see, and they offer stability. So if you have 2 people, let's say one person is pumping the cartridges off to this side and the other guy's in charge of firing it. You got one guy standing here, one guy standing here. It takes, you can fit 1 foot between the 2 on this gap here. And it really solidifies the assembly here, and it doesn't move, so you're always getting the same measurement. Same range, same angle, all that. So, how it works, I mean, you put the tube in there, you got this little wing nut here, you can loosen it to adjust your angle, down, back up, down. Say we want it right there. We tighten it up, and there we go. Want to bring it back up a tad, loosen it just a bit, bring it back up a tad, tighten it back down. There we go. And then you prep the cartridges. I'm going to bring it back up to a 90 degree just so you guys can see it a bit better. And to measure the angles, we actually have a protractor, which we just kind of set between here, and we kind of adjust the angle that way. We're probably going to mount some measuring thing on here in the future, just to make it a bit more streamlined, but for now, that works. You pump up the cartridge, load the round, stick it up here, and then you throw it down. It's really tight inside of this polycarbonate tubing, and you just throw it down, and it launches. It lands on cyclone fencing piece here. In order to release the cartridge, it's very simple. All you got to do, take the polycarbonate tubing out, and it rests in there very nicely. Just take it out, prep another one, and replace the tube, however you want to do it. Now, one big thing to note, I don't know if you guys can see this, there we go. One big thing to note is that you need holes in the bottom of your tube. So as you can see, we screwed some holes on each side of this cyclone fence piece. And that's because if I were to just take this polycarbonate tubing here, move this off to the side, bring it back here, and I were to hold it up against my hand, which has no holes in it, it's pretty much airtight, and I were to drop this down, it goes down very slow, you're not going to get anything from that, and it's because this fits so tightly, the air needs somewhere to go, and if it can't go out that way, then it's going around this very narrow area that is left when this is going through the tube, going out the top. Makes it go down very, very slowly. And so, that's pretty much it. You know, it's a bit bulky currently. You got to carry it with the 2x4s on. I mean, you can bring this separately in a backpack, which is what I'm planning on doing. To transport it, I tend to set the arm here as far down this way as I can. And I just carry it on my side like this. It's not that heavy. It's not too bad. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for improvement, and we are going to. But I think for this game, which is in 2 days, believe it or not, this is going to do the trick. Alrighty, and that's just about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. The next video should, in fact, be tomorrow. Possibly even later today if I can get it out in time. But you know, I've got a lot of schoolwork to do. The school year's winding down. Like I said earlier, I'm about to go and do some range testing with this out in the field. And so I'll take a couple videos of some shots, some low pressure shots there, so you guys can see it in action to a certain extent. And we'll send out a video of that. And then, you know, after the game I can be a lot more open about specifications, distance, all that. But before the game on Friday, you know, I kind of got to be a bit hush-hush about it. But, well, I thank you guys for kind of following along with this project, and I can't wait to see what improvements we make next. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.